Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Green Wisdom Health Show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And we are going to talk to you today about depression. Don't we sound excited about it? The name of this show is called Depression Loves Junk Food. And the reason we chose this for all of you out there listening is because we know a lot of you guys are very depressed, and we realize that the more depressed you are, the more junk food you're eating, and sadly, more of the junk food restaurants are open because the good restaurants are not open as of yet in many states. So we're kind of left with the drive-thrus now. And so Dr. Lewis is going to tell us today about how that correlates. He's going to educate us a little bit about something called biofilms, which many of you probably not heard of, but they're actually one of the causes as to why you want to eat some bad food. So it's not all in your head, and we're going to help you make sense of it, and we're going to help give you a plan to help you make better choices. So Dr. Lewis, can you put all this together for us, teach us about biofilms? And I think part of the reason we're doing this show is because, we're in the middle of this too, and it seems like ever since we ate a brownie that was not gluten-free and it had all the regular bad stuff in it, we've been craving more and more junk, and we've been feeling worse and worse mentally. So we thought, if it's happening to us and we should know better, we definitely need to educate you guys so you have a clue as to what's going on with you. So Dr. Lewis, pull us out of the hole. You always go down a rabbit hole. Pull us out of the rabbit hole and get us back to health and happiness and eating correctly.
Well, Pete up in Missouri, Concordia, I think, Concordia, he said, I wish you'd just quit talking about rabbit holes and just get to it. So, sorry, Pete, can't do it. I don't know. I refuse to go down into depression because I come from a family of very negative, depressed people. And it's like, I'll be damned if I'm going to do that. It's like, I see what they get you. I'm going to have fun. And I finally figured out that I'm going to die in my sleep. And somebody said, why do you know you're going to die in your sleep? And I said, because I'd fight that son of a gun trying to take me while I was awake. So we're going to have fun at this. There's a lot that I really, really, really want to say. And, the things about it is, you just, I don't even know, we live in an illusion or delusion that we think we can control things. And because the internet makes us really, really intelligent, no, it really doesn't. It makes you somewhat educated, but it makes you an educated fool. So we think more knowledge gives us more understanding, which gives us more control, and it really doesn't. So during this time, I'm going to tell you what you can't control. You can't control whether somebody else follows the social distancing rules. You can't control the actions of others. I feel like I'm Jeff Foxworthy. If you can't control predicting what will happen, you might be a redneck. You can't control other people's motives. You can't control the amount of toilet paper in the store. Oh, God, this is going to be fun. You can't control how long this is going to last, and I personally think it's 90% crap, bull, but that's me. Join Shooting Straight with Dr. Lewis, and you can see me in my mask. It's made out of a Crown Royal bag, and yes, I emptied the sucker. And I've gained 3 pounds, so that's how much I've stressed eat because, I'm guilty, but you can't control how other people react. So the things you can control a little bit, or at least I tell people, you can't control, but you can influence a lot of things. You can always control your positive attitude. You can make that. You can turn off the news, which would be really fun if everybody did it. We'd get over this a lot more quickly. You can find fun things to do at home. And Janet just rolls her eyes when I bought another bucket of weird colored paint so I can start painting rocks with the grandkids. You can control whether you follow the CDC recommendations or not, but you do control that. You can't control others. You can limit your social media. If it's negative, unfriend them, which there's 2 or 3 I'm thinking about unfriending. but I think that helps me practice my Christianity when I deal with idiots such as one or two of them or three. You can control your own social distancing if you think that is really a thing. But most importantly, you can control whether you're graceful and kind to other people. And that's what I think we need more of is kindness. So we'll talk a little technical stuff if you'd like. And, I'm sorry, my smart alec's way out today. Don't believe everything you think. Sometimes it's gone through the wrong map, the wrong filter. So we want to talk about biofilms a little bit, I guess. That's what Janet, what is a biofilm? Well, the people that have done the consult with me, I'll tell them, well, your chloride's a little on the low side, your protein's a little low, and if you don't digest protein, you cannot digest biofilms. And you have what we call a stealth pathogen. That usually is yeast, fungus, virus, whatever. It can be a lot of different things. But these little microorganisms, they adapt and they mutate. And so you have to have certain things that can allow you to get past the biofilm and kill the infection. And yes, your body knows how to do it. It just needs the raw materials in order for that to happen. So, when I'm practicing, I try to be integrative and holistic, which, that's really, really a good thing to be. I don't think a reductionist way of looking at things has gotten us very far. But sometimes when a patient comes in, they feel like they have no power at all, and they're struggling with something they don't understand, and I try to get it simple for them. I say, well, it's too many toxins, not enough nutrients, one or the other or both. And I get a lot of people when they consult with me, they cry. And I'll say, I'm sorry, did I say something that hurt your feelings? And they say, no, you're the first one that listened to me and acts like you understand. Well, Janet and I have gone through this stuff too. People that complain about fatigue, brain fog, I love it. When they say brain fog, I know exactly what to do. And it gets most of them great relief, and that's the benfotiamine. You've heard me talk about it. And people that talk about digestive complaints, well, it's digestive enzymes, and you need these things to help cut the biofilm and to more properly and more thoroughly digest your food so that it does not go down and create leaky gut. I'm going to mention a whole lot of different supplements, and there's always somebody wanting to hook on to Janet and my train. And somebody said the other day, well, you said this and this and this about immune system, and I would like to introduce my article about bovine colostrum, and that helps immune system too. I'm not going to let that particular person get on our train and ride it, but yes, bovine colostrum works. I take it. We have it here. You probably never heard me talk about it. But if you're not taking SBI, which is a bovine-derived immunoglobulin, you're missing the boat. I don't care what you've got. You ought to be throwing that stuff in your body every day. You heard me talk last week. I don't know what we were talking about. It might have been sugar, diabetes, whatever. And I said too much sugar equals fewer vegetables equals less zinc equals poor taste, equals more sugar. That's the nice vicious cycle that we get into, and I think that's going to lead into why sometimes we get on this junk food journey, and that helps feed the things that create biofilms like the candida and fungus. There's actually a book that says Cancer is a Fungus by Dr. Simon Sinek. And frankly, it's kind of rare to get a book that just blows me away intellectually. This guy's way the heck over my head. But I think if I had a bad cancer, I think I'd go see him in Rome, Italy. But read the book, Cancer is a Fungus. And then there's, plenty of research studies like out of Johns Hopkins that talks about sugar can contribute greatly to creating cancer because it feeds the yeast, the fungus, and these biofilms are not broken down. So how do you break down a biofilm? Well, one thing you do is you take digestive enzymes because it has the things to break them down. And there's actually, we have a note in here somewhere. I'm not following my notes. I'm talking off the top of my head or somewhere. Maybe not the top of my head, but there's a note in there that says these biofilms can actually create, bad things like E. coli, H. pylori. It can create MRSA. That's methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. And I'm leading up to a point. Once upon a time, I was bit a couple of times on the leg by a spider, and me being the brilliant man I am, I didn't go to the hospital, even though the toughest guy said that I ever knew said, man, you better go to the doctor. So I waited 5 days until I couldn't walk before I finally went in, and I had the surgeon cut it out with no anesthesia in his office, and because he said supplements don't work, and I said, yeah, but I'm scared to death of medical care. Cut it out. And he couldn't give me any kind of deadening at all, and he cut it out. Well, the next day it rotted out a whole lot more, and I had to go into the hospital and get real surgery. I love our medical profession. They have saved my bacon many, many, many times. But these biofilms normally will create even stuff like chronic Lyme disease, but the drug-resistant MRSA, that's a bad thing. That's the flesh-eating booger bear. So this surgeon cut it out, and I didn't get MRSA, and they sent another surgeon in to squeeze it, sniff it, swab my nose, and they said, you don't have MRSA. We do not understand why you don't have it. They were bumfuzzled. Is that a good word? And they said, why? I said, you wouldn't understand. It's that nutrition that the other surgeon said didn't work. I gave a lecture at 3 a.m. to the nurses about olive leaf extract. They said the last 50 spider bite cases is a really bad year for spiders here in East Texas. The last 50, everybody got MRSA. If you don't get it from the spider, you get it from the hospital. Why don't you have it? I said, I was taking olive leaf. And that wasn't even the strong one that we carry now. So olive leaf is an incredible, incredible, incredible antimicrobial and biofilm reducer.
So is that what happens basically? The biofilms become resistant to these antibiotics, and that's why people are chronically sick and they can't get well?
Yeah, it's I like to call it stealth pathogen. So you have to throw stuff at it, and then you get off of it for a minute or two, a few days, and then you throw something else at it. And one of the big things that I think is very, very important, and I do take a lot of olive leaf because it's even medically researched to help reduce blood pressure. Janet's brother can't get off of it unless his blood pressure will go way up. But another thing I really, really, really like is Candida support. It has the calcium undecellate. It has Paul d'Arco. Man, there's a ton of research on Paul d'Arco and all the nasty stuff it'll kill. It has the enzyme blend. You hear me talk about digestive enzymes, and I take at least a couple every time I eat because Janet's protecting herself from gas later. But this one in Candida support has enzyme blend that is the hemocellulase, which will help break down the fruits and vegetables and the cell walls. More importantly, it has a protease in it, and then it has the serrapeptase. Those are the two that will kill or dissolve the biofilms, expose that particular area and or the individual organisms, and allow your body to kill it. With the white blood cells, the macrophages can come and take over then, but it's really, really good. And it's got a little bit of trans resveratrol, which is Polygonum cuspidatum, which is Japanese knotweed. And, that's another great biofilm reducer. We don't really think of resveratrol as being a biofilm reducer because it's really, really good at increasing the length of your life in studies, of course, and the quality of your life. And they always say that's because it's in wine and in grape skins. You get so little out of the wine and grape skins. To drink wine to get your resveratrol is just like drinking a screwdriver to get your vitamin C. Unless you want wine, and then that's a good excuse. And wine's okay if you sip it, unless your mother-in-law's there, and then it's okay to gulp it. But resveratrol is really, really, really a good thing, and it'll make you feel way younger than what you are. I'm living proof of that.
Well, another favorite that I have, because, we're talking to you guys based on what's going on with us, because as y'all are more and more depressed out there, y'all quit talking to us so much. So we're thinking, well, what's going on? We're thinking, well, we're depressed too. So they've got to be depressed. So and we're wondering how is this happening? And I think a lot of it is because we can't control any of this. And the more this wears on, the crazier the days get, the more they add to it. And it's just overwhelming. And so you start eating junk. And, we eat healthier junk. I made some banana bread, which I'm not a cook, but turns out I kind of am. No,
she just throws a handful of nuts at me.
Right. I decided, well, I'm going to make some gluten-free banana bread. And Brandy told me about some flour. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, and it actually tastes just like regular flour, and it made the best banana bread. And it's got sugar in it. I can't get out of it. And then I thought, well, we had that last night for dinner, and I'd like some potato chips now, because somehow potato chips go with banana bread. And I'm eating this, and I'm going, what is going on with you? And then I'd look at what a potato chip is, and it's actually the perfect bliss-inducing junk food on the market, because its ingredients are sugar from the potato, salt, and fat. And
she said that word fat like that's a bad thing. It's not. It needs to be a better anti-inflammatory fat, however.
And they say the fact is sugar's been shown to be more addictive than cocaine. And I know I've had this in the past, because I used to love Mexican food. And what are you feeding there?
Yeah, let's make our Hispanic people mad at us, Janet. But okay.
Well, I'm just saying. And then I haven't eaten it in a long time, and along comes this wonderful banana bread, and then these chips, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's what you're talking about over there. It's those, what were they called? The name of those little things that you can't get rid of that are binding everything up in your gut.
Oh, the biofilms. Around yes. The yeast, fungus, and virus, etc.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, well, what do you do to kill that? And I know in the past, the thing to do, because the more you eat of this, the more depressed you get, and the more you want, because you start craving it. And it's like you just ate, but you're still hungry, because the sugar says, give me some more. And so I go back to the things I know, which thank God I know. Saccharomyces boulardii, which is we have it in a capsule and we have it in a powder. So whenever you're really bad, you're really craving bad things, Saccharomyces boulardii kills that down. And Dr. Lewis is going to tell you more about it. But the other one that I love is something called Colorex, and it's from the Horapito plant.
That sounds Spanish, so maybe that's Mexican. I don't know.
And the Horapito is actually an evergreen shrub. It's a little small tree with elliptical leaves splattered with little red dashes on them. They look kind of spicy, and they taste peppery. But what they do is it actually is taken as an antifungal, and it helps with killing yeast. And for women, it also helps kill urinary tract infections. So
it's real popular here. We sell it to a lot of women that become very, very happy.
Yeah, its leaves contain tannins and volatile essential oils. So those volatile essential oils are actually a well-documented fungicidal action. So it really works on getting rid of yeast. And I thought, okay, well, I've backed off on that lately, so I need to go back to that, put that back in, and then tell people what Saccharomyces does.
Okay, in a minute.
Okay, well,
because I'm about to lose my thought here.
Oh, between the two of them, though, you're back to not wanting to eat the junk anymore.
Yeah, and there's, I looked this up. It's a study I've read before. It says wheat can cause schizophrenia through gut irritation, from Journal of Biological Psychiatry and Journal of Science. Then, you heard me talk about B1 or thiamine. There's a study that says lack of thiamine makes the blood-brain barrier more leaky. Blood-brain. This allows more toxins to penetrate the brain, think depression and anxiety. And that's what yeast and fungus do. They steal your thiamine, and you don't get enough anyway. And there's another study that says lack of B vitamin causes psychosis. That's British Journal of Psychiatry. And you need the B vitamins to convert amino acid tryptophan to serotonin. the neurotransmitter. Maybe I'll get back on that in a minute, because now I'm going to talk about Saccharomyces. See, had a preacher a while ago says, Brandy, does Dr. Lewis have anything for memory? Because I told him he's going to have to pray for my brain. He said, there ain't nothing wrong with your brain. You just can't keep it, in the stall, so to speak. You're right about that, preacher. Saccharomyces is a yeast, but it's not related to Candida. And it's, oh my God, wonderful probiotic. It does not colonize in your gut, so you have to pretty much take it every day, because it takes 2 or 3 days, and by the time it gets out of your guts, you want to replenish that, and it's a super probiotic. And when Big John brought me the kombucha, I started making my own, and I put in some Saccharomyces boulardii to make sure I'm getting that with the good bacteria also. It's worldwide use, been used worldwide to improve gastrointestinal health. There's a lot of...
That's the thing we used to give our clients when they'd get out of the hospital.
With C. diff, about to die.
Yeah, they'd come in and go. They've given us everything they can think of. They've sent him home to die, basically. They'd look like walking death. And we'd break out the Saccharomyces boulardii and tell them to take it. At that time, we only had it in the capsules. This before we had the powder. The powder is very expensive, but actually... It's loose. The Saccharomyces in it is loose, so it's not a capsule, and it's got a little scoop in there. And if you do the small end, it will actually last you 10 months.
Yeah, it's really not expensive.
So it's not
because
expensive,
of that,
right? But that would pull people back out, and it looked like they were never sick after they took the Saccharomyces. It's amazing.
Yeah, one of my long-term patients, he's a chiropractic patient, and he came in. He looked like a corpse that just hadn't laid down into the casket yet, and he says, da-da-da-da-da, and his wife says, well, I'm going to lose him. I said, yep, looks like. And I said, well, you need this, 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 and this. And he says, wait a minute, let's start slow. And I looked at his wife. I said, you start slow, he's going to be dead. Go pick out his casket. And then I looked back at him, and I said, you're not in control. Your wife and I are going to take care of you. This is what you're going to take. A month later, he looked perfect and fine. So you get in this vicious cycle by feeding the bad stuff. And I'm going to get back into the Saccharomyces. This is from Wildly Primal. Y'all need to check out Tara at Wildly Primal. She puts out some good stuff. The vicious cycle, you feeling hangry. Yeah, most of us get hangry. Then you eat the carbs, the sugars, the simple carbs and sugars that Janet was talking about, like in potato chips. Then you secrete insulin. Then your cells resist this insulin. Then the sugar stores as fat. It's making triglycerides, and it's going to load up your liver. And then the cells remain unfed because there's that resistance there. So, and that's what happens. And then you're feeding all the booger bears in there, the bad yeast and H. pylori, et cetera, et cetera. So if you throw enough soldiers down in there with your fermented stuff, and yes, I think you should ferment your own stuff, and we still sell massive amounts of probiotics. We have a massive amount of people that get well too. This was a yeast that was discovered probably about 100 years ago by Henry Boulard, because he wanted to find a yeast that would stand the heat from making wine. There you go with resveratrol again. I guess I'm going to have to learn to like wine. I don't. But so anyway, they named it Saccharomyces boulardii, and they found that it had really good positive effects for rats that were infected with cholera. Now, anybody that knows about cholera, that's a booger bear bad disease. They did huge studies, and many of them that found out it was safe and had great efficacy, and it was at least 81% efficable, but it was totally safe. So more is better. I put it in my kombucha. I take the scoops out of the the powder that Janet talks about. It makes a huge difference. It helps control H. pylori, which many of us have because you don't have enough hydrochloric acid. Your stomach acid's not strong enough to kill the booger bears in there, H. pylori being that type of booger bear. So you should pretty much drink your kombucha. And I gave Mary a kombucha SCOBY here not long ago. I supercharged it with several different probiotics, but I put some Saccharomyces in there, and it's going to make Mary feel much, much better when she starts making her kombucha from the SCOBY.
It's interesting that the more added sugar your diet contains, the lower your intake of important micronutrients become, such as calcium, folate, iron, magnesium, potassium, selenium, vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. And isn't it amazing that with this virus going on, that's the same thing that they're saying people are extremely low in is vitamin D and zinc. And
Absolutely.
Where are they all lined up at that one favorite place with the golden arches still has the same long line that it had before when we drive by it.
I ate there about 7 years ago, and I'm still trying to digest that crap. I'll never eat there again. So those of you that are stressed and have anxiety and depression, one of the things I'd like to discuss just a little bit about the neurotransmitters. You've got norepinephrine that you don't hear much about, but it addresses whether you're alert or not. It addresses whether you have concentration, energy, and just mood regulation in general. Then you have dopamine. I love people that are low in dopamine because they're usually addicts, sex addicts, gambling addicts, alcohol or drug addict. It's about the pleasure reward center. And we had a lady that would give her husband some of the supplements that would help him make dopamine because he would go gamble. I mean, big time gamble. And she said he was doing so good, and I ran out of that stuff. And after about a week of him being out of it, and he didn't know he was taking it, folks. Yes, there's a lot of stuff stirred in your drink. Probably. Anyway, she was out for about a week, and he went over there to Shreveport and blew about $15,000. So dopamine has to do with the pleasure reward that you're always seeking through addiction to please. It has to do with motivation and your drive. It has to do with interest in your life, focus, and memory. Now, Janet and I, for the most part, we start out with things that help with serotonin and GABA, which creates calmness under pressure, maybe positive mood. People say, well, that's a piece of God in a bottle. But sleep cycle regulation, that's usually serotonin and or GABA, and appetite regulation. So see, different neurotransmitters do slightly different things, and that's why I tell people if you have stress, anxiety, depression, you got to fix your gut. But take the easy relax. You can take up to 5 or 6 a day. Most people only need 2 or 3, so the bottle lasts a long time because there's 180 in there. It's not very expensive. So.
And the other thing you can do is focus on fresh foods, ideally organic, and avoid as many processed foods as possible. And just think of it this way. If it comes in a can, a bottle, or package and has a list of ingredients, it's processed. So that's the things you want to stay away from. You want to replace your sodas because we have some people that tell us, oh, I eat great. And they're over there having Cokes or they're over there drinking sweet tea, especially down here in Texas. They're very fond of sweet tea.
People tell us every day, but I eat good. And no, you don't.
And you'll see them buying diet sodas.
Oh, geez, that's the worst thing. If you're going to drink a soda, if you're going to sin good. Don't do the diet crap.
So you can drink your way into depression as well, not just with alcohol, right? So anyway, and if you're wondering, well, where do I start? Do I have candida? Because many people, yeast is one of these biofilms that Dr. Lewis is talking about. You're wondering, well, I don't know if I have it or I don't. Many of those viral type patterns we see in the lab work. So if you're due to run your lab again and you're noticing that, you're beginning to crave things, you're not feeling as good as you were, the labs are open. People are going back down there now. Everything is being very restricted. We're being social distanced at the lab. So
safer
there's not
and cleaner.
Yes.
And they were safe anyway.
Not an issue there. But, don't be guessing at what's going on because it's really hard to fix yourself when you're in that state. And that's what we do. We run the low-cost lab so you're not guessing. And we do it across the United States. So go to our website at greenwisdomhealth.com, fill out the health survey, and it will recommend a panel. And Dr. Lewis can help talk to you as well, keep you motivated, help you with depression stuff. I mean, he's here to talk to you. That he loves to talk, as you know, and he'll help guide you in the right direction. So, Dr. Lewis, do you want to tell us anything else about people being depressed, or how to stay out of it, and how to make sure that we're eating better, how to just stay focused and try to get back on the right path?
First of all, you speak it, because when somebody asks me how you doing, I usually say somewhere between perfect and, what I say, I don't know. Anyway, I need that memory pill. There's a lot of things, you can really create your reality. You can't create what other people are doing. You can't control it. There was a famous actor one time that said, if you need booze and drugs to enjoy your life to the fullest, then you're doing it all wrong. And I personally agree with that. The best way, and this works for me, if you're feeling down, then do something for someone else. Words of encouragement, for example. I mean, nothing can quite substitute for well-meant, well-chosen, well-timed, sincere words of praise. Tell somebody, if they're obviously down, you can give them a sincere compliment. I don't care who you are. You can find something good about them. And I think we ought to just practice constant kindness. I talked about that when I was squeezing an apple, squeezing a lime. You can be so calming if you're just kind and gentle, like a soft word turneth away wrath, so to speak. So be nice to somebody. Be nice to yourself. Throw in some of these supplements. Ask God to bless it. You'll get better and better and better. And we get a really good response because we get good results. But you have to take the responsibility to do it, continue to do it. And just call me. Yeah, Janet's right. I'll talk to you.
Or join his Shooting Straight with Dr. Lewis page on Facebook, where many people ask questions. And you guys get back to asking questions. We miss you guys on there. We're coming out of this now, so get back in the groove. We miss having the interaction. So we're bored over here. So
somewhere between wonderful and perfect. Come on, y'all.
Yeah. So you guys have a blessed week, and we'll be here next time on the Green Wisdom Health Show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You are only one step away from a life worth living.